Battle Through the Heavens. Chapter 234. The Black Demon and the Heavenly Cauldron Ranking. The biting frost recedes as the hidden heat narrows into a controlled pulse, steadying the tremor in a reaching hand. Fingers trace the coarse, age-worn parchment where ink bleeds into 3 faint characters, cutting through the room's lingering chill. The silence deepens, thick with the weight of a cure that could finally unbind the air.
Breaking misfortune pill.
3 faint black characters appeared somewhat blurry on the ancient parchment, faintly revealing an ancient aura. With a hint of a smile in his eyes, Xiaoyan's gaze slowly swept over the parchment. When his sight moved over the medicinal pill's effects recorded on it, the smile on his face grew a bit thicker.
Tier 6 medicinal pill, capable of breaking most seals. After consumption, it forms a type of resistance within the body against this kind of seal. If one encounters such a seal again in the future, there is a certain chance of immunity. It really is a good thing.
Xiaoyan could not help but click his tongue while looking over the ancient parchment. He did not expect this thing to not only break seals, but also allow the person to gain some resistance against the previous seal. This point alone made it a top-tier medicinal pill among Tier 6.
Of course it is good. Back then, to obtain this medicinal formula, I had to put in a great effort, which even now makes my heart ache whenever I think about it.
Staring at Xiaoyan, Haibo Dong spoke with a bitter smile.
No matter how great the effort, compared to restoring your Du Huang strength, it is all insignificant.
Xiaoyan comforted him, then, regardless of Haibo Dong's feelings, unceremoniously put the ancient formula into his storage ring. In the alchemy world, there were some unwritten rules. If someone wanted to ask an alchemist to help refine some relatively rare medicinal pills, they not only had to prepare the formula and materials themselves, but the formula was also at the alchemist's disposal thereafter. Even if the person lost their life for it, it was considered normal. Creating a medicinal formula in the alchemy world was not as simple as taking a pen and jotting things down. When creating a formula, an alchemist must use their own spiritual power, then use the pen as a guide to successfully create a standard formula. When using a formula, an alchemist must use their spiritual power to penetrate the formula, to read certain hidden details necessary for refining, such as the exact quantity of medicinal ingredients or the degree of heat needed. All of these were extremely important during refinement. Without this information, no matter how outstanding an alchemist's skills were, they would have to go through many experiments, and only then would it be possible to refine the pill recorded on the formula. However, in the process of experimentation, many precious medicinal ingredients would likely be destroyed. This was an extremely massive loss. Therefore, even though Haibo Dong had the formula for a period of time, he still had no way to read it. Seeing Xiaoyan's actions, the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch. After a long while, he could only shake his head gloomily, letting this guy take his hard-earned formula for free. Smilingly putting away the breaking misfortune pill formula, Xiaoyan turned his eyes to the large pile of medicinal ingredients on the table. These ingredients could all be considered precious. Some of them, if placed in an auction house, could even be auctioned for no less than 500,000 gold coins. Even so, they were often sought after but unavailable. After all, anyone with a bit of knowledge would not take these rare herbs to an auction because they never knew when they might meet an alchemist who needed these specific ingredients. That would be an extremely satisfying transaction. Perhaps fearing failure, Haibo Dong had prepared most of the ingredients in 2 or 3 sets. After checking the many fine medicinal ingredients once and finding no discrepancies, Xiaoyan finally nodded. He looked up at the old man who was staring intently at him and said with a smile,
Old sir, I believe you should also know that refining this type of medicinal pill has a high probability of failure. Before refining, let me say something that might not sound too pleasant. I have some confidence in refining this Tier 6 pill, but I do not dare to make a guarantee. Therefore, if it finally fails due to some reason, the responsibility—
I know. You are not responsible, right? You alchemists are all like this. Could it be that if you fail, I will forcefully keep you here?
Hearing this, Haibo Dong waved his hand and spoke with a bitter smile.
Haha, it is best that the old sir can understand. I wonder if you can prepare a quiet room for me? While I am refining, no one is allowed to disturb me, including the old sir.
Xiaoyan put the ingredients from the table into his storage ring and smiled.
Follow me.
Nodding, Haibo Dong walked toward the door, with Xiaoyan following closely behind. They entered a corridor where the light was somewhat dim. Following Haibo Dong for a distance, they stopped outside a room door at the end of the corridor. Pushing open the door, a faint lantern light shone out. The room looked quite clean, likely because it was swept often. It was not a bad place to use as a temporary refining location. Entering the room, Xiaoyan looked around and nodded with a smile.
Little brother, is this place all right?
Haibo Dong asked with a smile. Seeing Xiaoyan nod, he continued.
In that case, please refine the medicinal pill here. I will stay outside the corridor. During this period, you will have a quiet atmosphere. Absolutely no one will disturb you.
Yes.
Xiaoyan nodded with a smile and watched Haibo Dong retreat. He gently closed the door, turned around to look at the room, but did not rush to start immediately. He slowly walked around the entire room, strictly checking everything. After a long while, having finished the check, Xiaoyan arrived at the table in the center of the room. He tapped his finger on the ring and asked softly in his heart.
Teacher, is there any problem here?
Yes, I have checked. It seems that fellow did not play any tricks here.
Yao Lao's voice chuckled in his heart. Hearing this, Xiaoyan nodded and said with a smile.
Since it is so, teacher, please take action.
As he spoke, Xiaoyan's finger lightly brushed the storage ring, and immediately the materials from before filled the table once more.
Alas, I knew you would make this old bag of bones do the hard labor.
The ring trembled slightly, and Yao Lao slowly drifted out. Looking at the full set of materials on the table, he shook his head helplessly.
I actually want to do it myself, but this is a Tier 6 medicinal pill. Even though I have a heavenly flame now, it is still impossible for me to refine it.
Xiaoyan spread his hands and spoke with an innocent smile. Xiaoyan's words made Yao Lao roll his eyes and sigh. He descended to the side of the table, casually picked up some medicinal ingredients, then waved his hand towards Xiaoyan. Immediately, the black ring on Xiaoyan's finger fell into Yao Lao's hand. When the black ring was carefully placed in his hand, Yao Lao flicked his finger. A pure black medicinal cauldron, about the size of an incense burner, abruptly appeared. The black medicinal cauldron had a somewhat sturdy shape. Its entire body faintly emitted a steady aura. The surface of the cauldron also had realistic yet illusory flame carvings. As the cauldron slowly rotated, the flame carvings did not seem like ordinary objects. Xiaoyan could even sense faint flame energy condensing around the cauldron.
Good cauldron!
With eyes shining as he looked at the extraordinary aura of the black medicinal cauldron, Xiaoyan could not help but praise it. Comparing his own cauldron with Yao Lao's was undoubtedly laughable. Moreover, the black medicinal cauldron clearly was not just flashily decorated. Judging by the flame energy automatically condensing around it, it clearly provided a great boost to alchemy.
A medicinal cauldron is what an alchemist desires most. A good cauldron can greatly increase the success rate of refining pills.
This cauldron of mine has a somewhat domineering name. Others call it the Black Demon. Back then, to get it, I really searched very hard.
Looking at the black medicinal cauldron suspended in midair, Yao Lao spoke with some sentiment.
Black demon? It really is domineering.
Clicking his tongue in admiration, Xiaoyan shook his head.
Having not had much contact with the alchemy world, he naturally did not know the fanatical attraction such a cauldron had for an alchemist. Similar to the heavenly flame ranking, there was also a heavenly cauldron ranking in the alchemy world. As the name implied, the cauldron ranking recorded extremely perfect and outstanding medicinal cauldrons. The ranking had a total of 13 cauldrons. Every single one of them had a magic that could attract countless alchemists. And at the 8th position on the heavenly cauldron ranking was the one known as the Black Demon.
Seeing Xiaoyan's amazed look, Yao Lao also smiled, but he did not speak further about the origin of the Black Cauldron. His palm moved slightly, and a bone-chilling flame quickly rose from his palm. He slowly moved his palm toward a rhombic fire hole on the Black Cauldron, flicked his finger, and the bone-chilling flame rose within the cauldron.
It seems teacher also places great importance on this refinement. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought out your own cauldron.
Looking at the flames rising inside the Black Cauldron, Xiaoyan spoke with a smile. Previously, Yao Lao's pill refining was done directly in his palm.
The probability of failure for a Tier 6 medicinal pill is not low. Moreover, I am only in a soul state now, and my strength is not what it used to be. Refining this type of medicinal pill naturally requires the assistance of a medicinal cauldron.
Yao Lao spoke indifferently. His palm moved rapidly above the cauldron, and a medicinal herb was sucked into his hand, then thrown into the Black Cauldron. As his hand left the cauldron, Yao Lao's aged, withered hand suddenly became like a fluttering leaf, moving rapidly. Following the movement of his fingertips, the hot, bone-chilling flame inside the Black Cauldron smoothly transformed into dozens of hair-thin flame threads, wrapping around all the medicinal ingredients inside. Watching Yao Lao's movements, which were as smooth as flowing water and moving clouds, Xiaoyan looked on with admiration. When would he reach such a state of effortless elegance? With a sigh of admiration, Xiaoyan sat quietly on a chair to the side, carefully observing Yao Lao's refinement. At Yao Lao's level, almost every tiny step could bring a sense of enlightenment to Xiaoyan. In the quiet secret room, the bone-chilling flame danced beautifully, and a faint medicinal fragrance drifted out, filling the room.